There is a silence that arrives only after everything else has been exhausted. It doesn't come when you simply stop talking. It's not the quiet of an empty house. This is a deeper silence, a total one. It arrives after the chase is over, after the last distraction has been clicked away, the last ambition has been either achieved or abandoned, the last person you needed to convince has left the room. It is the silence of having nowhere left to run, and in that silence, the real war begins. It's not a war of swords or shouts. It is a war of presence. For the first time, with no enemy to fight and no prize to win, you are left alone with the single, most terrifying fact of your existence, yourself. The curated version of you, the one built from accolades and approvals, from busyness and avoidance, suddenly has nothing to do. Its props have been taken away. And in the stark, quiet stage of your own mind, something else begins to stir. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung called this the shadow, not a monster in the closet, but the entirety of the self we have been taught to disown. The weaknesses we hide, the passions we deem impractical, the raw, unedited version of who we are that we've been running from our whole lives. We thought we were running toward a better life, a better version, but we were only running from this, from the profound and unsettling truth that here, in this silence, is the only place you can ever actually meet yourself. And the first thing you learn is that the running was the easy part. The chaos was a comfort. The noise was a mercy. Because now, there is only you, and the quiet, and the beginning of a conversation you have spent a lifetime avoiding. So we build, we construct, we devise the most intricate, beautiful, and socially applauded labyrinths to stay lost. This is the architecture of escape, not a frantic, panicked flight, but a deliberate, systematic investment in staying one step ahead of the silence. It looks like productivity. It feels like purpose. It is the relentless hustle that leaves no room for a single, unscheduled moment between sunrise and sleep. It is the meticulous curation of a digital self, a gallery of highlights and triumphs designed to prove, both to others and to ourselves, that we are exactly who we claim to be. It is the constant consumption of news, of entertainment, of other people's lives that fills the auditory canals of the mind with a static so loud, it drowns out the first faint whispers of doubt. We are not lazy in our avoidance. We are master builders. The philosopher Alan Watts saw this clearly. He spoke of the ego as a construct, a front we present to the world. We have been taught to identify ourselves with this front, he said, just as we identify ourselves with our name, our social security number, and the story of our life. We become so identified with the facade, the successful professional, the reliable parent, the person who has it all together, that we forget it is a performance. The architecture becomes our identity. The running becomes who we are, and we are all complicit. This is not an accusation. It is a confession. Look at the subtle relief you feel when a meeting runs long, stealing the empty 15 minutes you might have had alone with your thoughts. Remember the compulsion to reach for your phone in a quiet elevator, to transform a 30-second void into a scroll of information. These are not moral failings. They are the well-practiced reflexes of a self trying to preserve its own fragile construction. They are the silent, unanimous agreement we have all made, that the unknown territory within is more dangerous than the exhausting, familiar marathon without. But the cost of this flight is a fractured life. We begin to feel like custodians of a museum we never visit, curating exhibits for an audience we never see. A deep, persistent dissonance hums beneath the surface of our achievements. We have the career, the relationship, the home, and yet we feel like tenants in our own lives, never the owners. This is the price of an externalized identity. You become a collection of reflections, a mosaic of what others see, and you lose the core, the thing that is being seen. The architecture is brilliant, it is strong, but it is built on a fault line, the unspoken, terrifying knowledge that it is all a magnificent distraction from a single, simple question that waits for you in the quiet. Who are you? When no one is looking, and you have nothing to prove. The silence of the first section was the end of the road. This architecture is the map of the entire journey we took to get there, and it is about to crumble. The architecture cannot hold forever. No wall, no matter how well built, can withstand the constant, subtle pressure of the truth. The first crack is often not dramatic. It is a hairline fracture, almost invisible. It is a moment of inexplicable panic in the shower, where the white noise of the water can no longer mask the white noise in your mind. It is the feeling of profound emptiness that descends in the minute after a hard-won achievement, a hollow victory where the applause fades, and all that is left is you, standing on a stage, with no idea who you are supposed to be now. This is the beginning of the real war. It is not a battle against an external enemy, but a civil war within the psyche. It is the constructed self, the ego, the persona, the front, clashing with the authentic self that has been waiting patiently in the shadows. You find yourself reacting in ways that don't align with your curated identity. A flash of irrational anger at a minor inconvenience reveals a deep well of unexpressed frustration. A wave of grief, unattached to any recent event, washes over you, hinting at an ancient sorrow you thought you had buried. You look in the mirror and for a split second you don't recognize the face looking back. The mask, once worn so comfortably, has begun to feel tight, foreign, like a costume you forgot you were wearing. This is the territory Jiddu Krishnamurti mapped with terrifying clarity. He spoke of the danger of the known. We are terrified of the unknown within us, the raw, unprocessed feelings, the primal fears, so we label them. We call it anxiety, depression, a bad day. But Krishnamurti offered a devastating insight. The day you teach the child the name of the bird, the child will never see that bird again. Let that settle. The moment we name our inner experience, we stop truly seeing it. We file it away in a mental category. This is my anxiety. The label becomes a cage. We are no longer present with the raw, flowing, changing sensation in our body. We are now in a relationship with a fixed concept called anxiety. The war is fought between the part of us that wants to apply another label, find another solution, another distraction, to rearm the architecture, and the part of us that is desperate to finally, for the first time, just see the bird, to experience the thing in itself, without the filter of a name. This internal conflict is a form of torture. One voice, the architect, screams, "Get a hold of yourself. Be productive. Fix this. What is wrong with you?" It is the voice of judgment, of control, of the old regime fighting for its life. The other presence, the authentic self, does not speak in words. It communicates through feeling. A tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach, a weight of immense sadness. It does not argue. It simply is. And its silent, persistent existence is a constant wordless rebellion against the tyranny of the mask. You try to medicate the war away. You try to think your way out of it. You seek advice, scroll through articles on finding yourself, hoping for a manual, a map, a strategy to win. But there is no winning this war. There is only dissolution. The struggle itself is the barrier. The mind, which is the general of the old army, is trying to use its own tools to defeat an enemy that is not an enemy, but the very ground it stands on. The crumbling is a painful, disorienting process. It feels like madness. It feels like failure. The solid ground of your identity is turning to sand, and you are sinking. The world you built so carefully is fading, and what is emerging from the fog is unfamiliar, wild, and terrifying. You are in the liminal space, the no man's land between who you were and who you will become. And the only thing that is certain is that the mask you have worn for so long is no longer saving you. It is suffocating you. The war is not about defeating a part of yourself. It is about the terrifying, necessary act of laying down your arms, turning toward the silence you have been running from, and finally, truly, looking. The breakthrough does not come with a blast of light or a clap of thunder. It arrives as a subtle internal surrender. It is the moment you become so exhausted by the civil war, so tired of the internal shouting and the crumbling walls, that you simply stop. You stop analyzing the fear. You stop fighting the sadness. You stop trying to win. You just listen. This is the courage of bare attention. It is not the courage of the soldier, but the courage of the scientist who, after a lifetime of complex theories, decides to simply look through the microscope without preconception. It is a shift from being a participant in the war to being a witness of it. And this shift changes everything. Imagine a thought arising. I am not good enough. The old architecture, the general, would immediately leap into action. It would argue, of course you are. Look at your accomplishments. Or it would agree and spiral. You're right, and here are the 17 reasons why. This is the war. It is a reaction, a struggle against the thought's content. Bare attention is different. It does not engage the story. It notices the thought as a weather pattern in the mind. You observe, the "I am not good enough" thought has appeared. You notice the physical sensation that accompanies it, a tightening in the throat, a hollowness in the chest. You feel the emotion, shame perhaps, as a raw energy in the body. You do not call it "my shame." You simply note, there is shame here. You are not the storm. You are the sky, vast and silent, in which the storm is passing. This is the backward step that Alan Watts described, the step out of your own mental commentary. You are no longer lost in the forest of your thoughts. You have climbed a watchtower and are simply observing the layout of the trees. From this vantage point, a profound realization dawns. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. They are events that happen within you, like clouds passing through the vast space of your awareness. They come and they go, and you are the space itself. This is what Carl Jung meant by holding the tension of opposites. He wasn't advocating for a state of paralyzed conflict, but for a conscious containment. You do not choose one side over the other, the good you versus the bad shadow. Instead, you create a vessel of awareness strong enough to hold both without being torn apart. You allow the critic and the vulnerable one to exist simultaneously within your field of attention, without judgment. You stop trying to eliminate one to keep the other. In this stillness, the war's nature is revealed. You see that the battle was never against the content of your mind, the fear, the anger, the sadness. The real war was against the act of observation itself. The ego, the architect, fought so fiercely because its very existence depends on you being identified with the struggle. It needs you to believe you are the anxious person, the angry person, the incomplete person. The moment you step back and simply observe, its power begins to dissolve. It has nothing to latch onto. This practice is deceptively simple, yet it is the most demanding work you will ever do. It requires you to sit in the fire of your own experience without moving to put it out, to let the tears fall without a story about why they are falling, to feel the rage without an object for its fury. This is not passivity. It is the ultimate act of intimacy with yourself. It is to finally grant every exiled part of you the dignity of your own undivided attention. The silence you once feared becomes your greatest ally. It is the clear, still water in which you can finally see your own reflection, not as you wish it to be, but as it truly is. The chaos does not disappear. The pain does not magically vanish, but your relationship to it is utterly transformed. It is no longer a monster under your bed. It is a guest in your house, and you are learning, for the first time, how to simply open the door and let it in. Awareness is not an end in itself. It is a beginning. It is the light you must now carry into the darkest corners of your own being. Having learned to sit in the stillness, to observe the storms without drowning in them, you are now prepared for the most courageous journey, the descent. This is where the philosophical breakthrough becomes a lived transformation. This is where you meet your shadow, not as a concept from a book, but as a living, breathing part of your own soul, waiting in the light of your own attention. Carl Jung did not see the shadow as something to be destroyed. He saw it as a treasure trove of latent life, a source of profound vitality and wholeness. Everyone carries a shadow, he wrote, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. The shadow is not what is wrong with you. It is what you have been told is wrong with you. It is the artist you locked away because you were told to be an accountant. It is the wild, spontaneous spirit you caged because you needed to be responsible. It is the vulnerability you armored over because you were taught that strength never cries. To integrate the shadow is not to become a villain. It is to become whole. It is to reclaim the disowned energy you have been projecting onto the world around you. The colleague you can't stand because of their arrogance? Look closer. That might be your own repressed desire to be seen and validated, twisted by judgment into something ugly. The relentless inner critic that berates your every mistake? Listen carefully. It might speak with the voice of a parent or a teacher, but its fuel is your own disowned perfectionism, a part of you that so desperately wanted to be loved that it decided to become flawless. The practice now moves from observation to dialogue. You do this not in a state of conflict, but from the still, compassionate center you cultivated in the silence. You consciously invite these disowned parts forward. You create an internal space where they are allowed to speak. The process is simple, though never easy. In a quiet moment, You close your eyes and turn your attention inward. You might feel a familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach. Instead of trying to make it go away, you approach it with gentle curiosity. You give it a voice. You ask silently, "What are you? What do you need?" You do not demand an answer in words. You listen for the feeling, the image, the memory that arises. What you might find is not a monster, but a frightened child. The anxiety in your stomach might be a 6-year-old you, terrified of making a mistake and being rejected. The flash of rage might be a teenager screaming to be set free from a cage of expectations. These are not metaphors. They are psychic realities, energy patterns that have been frozen in time, waiting for your permission to thaw. The act of integration is the act of welcoming them home. It is to speak from your adult conscious self to that inner child. I see you. I feel your fear. You are not alone anymore. I am here now. It is to acknowledge the rageful teenager. Your anger is valid. You wanted freedom. I hear you. This is not indulging a tantrum. It is acknowledging a truth. You are not agreeing to act out the rage or collapse into the fear. You are simply ending the civil war by recognizing that the so-called enemy soldiers are, in fact, your own lost citizens. As you do this, something miraculous happens. The energy that was bound up in suppressing these parts is released. The critic, when heard and understood, may reveal itself as a protector that was trying to keep you safe from failure. Its harsh voice softens. The anxiety, when comforted, may relax its grip, its frantic energy transforming into a heightened sensitivity and empathy. The shadow, when brought into the light, ceases to be a shadow. It becomes a source of strength. Your perceived weaknesses become the very contours of your character, the unique and human texture of your soul. This is the transformation. You are no longer a fragmented self, a mask at war with its own underlying truth. You are becoming a council, a community, an integrated whole. The war is over because you have stopped fighting yourself. You have turned your inner battlefield into a shared homeland. So it was never a war, was it? Not really. A war implies two sides, each trying to annihilate the other. What we have walked through was something else entirely. It was a homecoming, a long, painful, and often terrifying journey back to the self you never actually left, but merely forgot. The running, the architecture, the crumbling, the witnessing, the integration, these were not battles. They were the stages of an awakening, the path from a life lived as a reflection to a life lived as a source. The silence you feared was not a void, but a womb. The shadow you fought was not an enemy, but a forgotten teacher. The entire exhausting struggle was not a sign that you were broken, but a testament to the incredible, unkillable life force within you, pressing relentlessly toward wholeness. It was the sound of your own being, insisting on its right to exist in its entirety. This is the pathless land that Krishnamurti spoke of. There is no fixed map for this territory because the territory is you. No guru, no book, no system can walk it for you. They can only point, as a finger points at the moon. But you must do the seeing. You must take the steps. The courage you have found is not the courage to conquer, but the courage to be, fully, openly, and without apology. The peace that emerges on this side of the struggle is not the peace of a quiet life. It is the peace of a unified one. It is the deep, resonant stillness of a forest that contains both the gentle fall of rain and the crack of thunder, and is not defined by either. You will still feel pain. You will still know doubt. The old architectures of escape may still whisper their seductive promises in moments of fatigue, but now you know them for what they are, and you know what lies beyond them, yourself. Not a perfect finished self, but a true one. A work in progress, yes, but now a work of art, not a monument to someone else's ideals. This is the final realization. The warrior who stopped running did not lose the war. They discovered that the only thing they were ever truly fighting was their own reflection. And in laying down their arms, in turning to face it with open eyes and an open heart, they did not find a monster. They found a mirror. And in that mirror, for the first time, they came home. So let the silence speak. Let the shadow teach. Let the heart break open if it must. For a heart that is broken open is a heart that can finally hold the whole of this beautiful, terrible, and magnificent human experience. The journey does not end here. It begins again, anew, with every breath. This time, not as a flight, but as a standing deep and rooted in the unshakable truth of your own being.